Good day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This video today is going to be about creating an emotional ward or an emotional shield. I made a previous video on creating a mental shield, which helps to protect from mental domination. If you want to see that, you can look towards my YouTube. So for the emotional ward, in shamanic work, basically, we look not just at the physical body, we look way beyond that. It's the same as the yogic world. All these systems really intermingle. They're trying to say the same thing. We look at the different layers of man, human, person. We can look in the physical body, the pranic body, which is the energy body that basically filters down to the physical body. It's our energy body, and it sits around the physical body. And depending on our degree of development, depending on our physical health, depending on our environment, how much breathing we're doing, this energy body can be quite close to the physical or it can be quite farther away. Beyond that layer, we have what's called the emotional or the astral layer, which is where we store all of our emotions. We have the mental layer beyond that, which is where we store all our thoughts, thought forms, mental programs, placed there by ourselves, by our family, by our environment, our society. Then we have the soul body, which is where we carry our soul memory in yogic philosophy, shamanic philosophy. So that's why someone can say, come into this life and have a propensity to want to serve medicine, a propensity to want to sing, to build things. It's like we come in from this life with the work that we've done before. That's where it sits. So specifically working with the emotional body, it's also connected to a couple energy centers. It's connected to the sacral, which is around the area of the pubic bone, connected to the navel and the heart. So anytime we have emotional disturbances, it can affect these energy centers. So when I go through the shamanic work, really targeting on the emotions can sit actually in any center on the body. You can have emotions in the agya, we can have emotions in the root. But really these are areas that if there is a lot of emotional disturbance, you're going to see issues, even physical issues eventually, perhaps if someone doesn't take care of what's going on in the heart, if they don't take care of what's going on in the navel, gut issues, these sorts of things. So we'll go through and scan, or I'll go through and scan and try to help to remove, say, heavy resentment that's been left inside of the heart. Maybe someone's got a lot of anger in their solar plexus. I work on removing that or helping them to see how to remove it. So when we create an emotional ward, what we're actually doing is trying to give ourselves a little bit of a break in a psychologically challenging environment. Of course, in a perfect world, it would be amazing if we were to enter into any emotional field and to not be triggered by it. Ideally, it would be amazing if we could go into that environment and not feel like we're grasping on and trying to hold onto the love or the seduction, or we're repelled by it and we don't want to be anything to do with that person, that kind of thing. Ideally, we want to be in the center. Absolutely. But in the meantime, because we're human and we're growing and we're doing our best, we may want to set these words up so that when we go into an environment that we know is going to be challenging, there's less likelihood of our own emotions being triggered by an emotion on the outside. It's like this resonance, and the shield that we set up in between helps to give us a little bit of space and a little bit of distance, so that we can stay in our center. There's one of my favorite books by Patrick Rothfuss called The Name of the Wind. He talks about dropping into heart of stone before you do anything. And it's kind of like that. It's like placing yourself into that emotional stillness, that emotional calmness, so that you're not triggered by things and you can make decisions and you can have difficult conversations. It really helps, especially when you have to have a difficult conversation. Setting up that emotional ward in the beginning just gives you such a greater place to start from. Yeah. So 2 things before I give the instructions, or just a little bit about the specific colors that we use. In this particular, any of these wards, it's like we imagine an egg and then we paint the egg a particular color. So for the emotional one, we're initially going to paint it pink. And then once we step inside it and we imagine it all around us, we're going to then put a gold sheen around the outside. So why do we do this? Let's imagine somebody sends us a bad energy. Someone has a bad thought about us, and we've put up a ward with no color. It's just this like mental construct. There's a ward there. This energy comes in, bounces off, and goes back to the other person, exactly as they sent it. So that person actually, like usual, as we said, when you send a bad energy out, it comes back to harm you. But what if we can be a little bit wiser in this process? What if we can add something to the process for that other person? Ultimately for our own karma, because everything that we give out to the world, we receive back, right? So if I paint this pink gold around, what it does is actually causes a transmutation of the negative energies that come towards me. So someone sends me anger, it hits that pinky gold sheen, transmutes, and goes back as something different, goes back as something higher, goes back as something lighter. So we're putting good into the world without even really having to be super conscious of it. It's just happening because we set this ward. So some people may think, oh, I'm setting wards because I'm afraid of everything in the environment. No, actually, you're doing an act of service for the people around you. You're sending out good energy just by setting it. So how do we do it? Basically, I'm going to start to charge my heart energy. Now, anyone that has a heart condition or issues with their heart, I suggest that you not do this, because any kind of over-energizing or energizing of the heart can actually cause congestion if the energy doesn't flow there well. You could always have someone that you trust set it for you if you want to. So when I start breathing in, I breathe in evenly, breathe in for 7, hold, exhale for 7, hold. And I continue to do this for 9 times. Now, what I found that makes it more powerful is if I actually imagine that I'm breathing in through the back heart. So I inhale in through the back heart and I feel my heart energy expand. I don't energize in through the heart or breathe in through the front heart, because that again can cause congestion. And if we're not able to scan or to see how our energy is doing, we could over energize without not knowing. So breathe in through the back and do this again 9 times. I also use the digits on my finger to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so that I don't lose track. Because sometimes when I breathe really slowly or I start to get in it, you can kind of lose your count. So after I've done that, I imagine this pinky, beautiful egg sitting in front of me, and it's very luminescent. And I just keep breathing and I imagine it. And once I feel that it's really there, even if I tap on the edges in my mind's eye and feel that it's strong and it's firm. And it's a little bit more difficult, I found, in the mental ward, just because it's the energy. Pink is a bit of a softer energy than the yellow. So it might feel like it's a little bit softer. So you really need to be very clear in your mind and very clear in your heart when you create this. Then you imagine yourself, little you, going inside of the egg, sitting inside of the egg, and see it all around you in your mind's eye, above, below, all the sides. You're sitting inside this egg. And then once you really feel that's strong with conviction, I imagine in my mind's eye just painting that golden sheen around the pink. Then once I feel that's firmly established, you want to say the invocation. So I'll write it below in the YouTube description. I'll also write it in the Instagram description as well. Okay, I am shielded from all forms of emotional attacks and contamination. Say it with conviction. So be it. This shield is impregnable. So be it. The shield is invincible and cannot be emotionally penetrated. So be it. The shield will last for a duration of 12 hours. So be it. The shield is internally permeable. So be it, as I will it. So again, anytime you do something with conviction, it gives it more strength. That you have to believe it 100%. If you don't, it warbles, as I said before. Good. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, you can always send me a message in the comments. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.